So for anyone that hasn't watched it, the whole concept is there are people behind a wall and all they do for a couple of weeks is talk to each other. And at the end of that, you have to propose to someone if you fall in love with them. People are falling in love having never seen the other person behind a wall. Because there's something so intrinsically human about voice, right?
100%.
Like, you will know more about someone in a 5-minute call with them than 50 hours texting them. Because text is one-dimensional. Voice isn't. So I was watching this, and I was like, well, if people can fall in love on a TV show behind a wall, we've got something wrong, right? Like, none of the dating apps have ever looked at how to optimize human connection.
Real people, real stories, and real challenges that break the status quo. I'm your host, Zivile, and welcome to Perception Paradox. Hi everyone, welcome back to Perception Paradox. It's Zivile, and I'm back from my Euro tour. A couple of weeks back I went to Lisbon for Web Summit, and we already launched a special Web Summit episode with Craig Leeson. If you haven't listened to it, go back, listen, and learn more about what's happening with the current world we live in and maybe what we can do about that. And right now I'm back from Slush in Helsinki, which is a non-profit organization on a mission to help and create founders to change the world. And it started in 2008 as a small gathering. And right now, after over a decade, being actively present, inviting the top-notch European startups, world-class investors, and tech journalists annually to experience Helsinki and the power of network and connection. This year it gathered again around 13,000 people, and that was incredible. The last time I've been to Slush was in 2019, if I'm correct. I've never been back after COVID, and I have to tell you that things are good there. Very well curated crowd. It's not too big, but crowded enough. And it has a very good hype. And for the ones who have never been there, so it's quite wild because you enter the venue and it's all dark, lots of light. It's kind of an entering a nightclub. I really loved it. So I went there as a media to talk to the deep tech startups and not only to explore the different founder stories. And I'm coming back with 4 recorded episodes and quite some for follow-up, and I can't wait to present that for you. So I try to find this time founders that are a bit different from each other, and I don't know, and just let's see what we've got. The first interview you're gonna hear recorded at Slush will be with Zahira Adam, who is a founder of Hati. And basically she is trying to share with us and change the world, the way we kind of build the relationships, and how she's trying to find the answer for the question, how to navigate our complicated modern world to find love. And yes, you heard me right, she's building a dating app that's way different than any other apps right now in the market based on that you cannot text, you have to actually jump on a call. And what I really admire about Zahira and how we end up having this conversation, we met at Web Summit in the speaker's lounge. And I do recall her energy. It's just wild, it captivates. She's super friendly, very outgoing, helpful, and full of great ideas. And she experienced herself that dating life is super complicated. What lies behind the dating life is actually the loneliness, that we're becoming more and more lonely, isolated human beings, and she wants to change that. And the first focus group with whom she wants to change that are the people who did not find their love. So dive into this 20 minutes episode and our conversation with Zahira, and have fun. And if you're single, try out the Hatti app. Let's dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Perception Paradox. We are here at Slush still day 2, and I have one more exciting and great founder with me, Zahira, here joining me for a great conversation. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
How are you today?
I'm great. It's my first ever Slush.
All right.
So obviously we were at Web Summit last week.
Yeah.
Slush this week. Very different conferences.
Okay.
But equally inspiring. It's amazing to be part of like the ecosystem. I think I didn't know what to expect out with either Web Summit or Slush.
All right.
So I kind of came in and people were like, what do you want out from it? And I'm like, I don't know. I just want to meet people, find interesting ideas, and it's blown my mind.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
So what's the most crazy thing you've done so far this week?
So it turns out in Helsinki, the way you network is in your bikini. In a sauna, and then getting into the ocean. So
So that's what you did?
that's what I did last night and the night before. So I'm 2
2 nights in a row.
2 nights in a row at the same place, but with different events. But I will say this, right? So if you told me back in London, you're going to have to get into your bikini to network, I would say, hell no. Count me out. I find networking incredibly stressful.
Okay.
So I'm an introvert. It's scary going up to a group of people you don't know. There is something incredibly freeing about networking in your bikini. And I know that sounds crazy.
Love it.
But I think people drop the facade and there's nothing to hide behind. And I think people are a bit more real and it's funnier and it's easier. And it sounds so weird. And if you said this to me a week ago, I would have laughed at you. But I made so many incredible connections the last 2 days. We didn't really talk about work. We didn't really talk about why, but we talked about ideas and things and we laughed. And when you're sat in a sauna and you're barely able to breathe, there's just more to talk about, right?
Yeah.
And like you're trying to get through either like being too hot, being too cold, and it's a bonding experience.
That's so cool. Glad
Have you
to
done
hear.
it before?
Well, actually, I haven't done sauna here this week. Somehow I was jumping from one event to another on the sides.
But you've done it before?
I've done sauna before, yeah. I'm coming from Lithuania. I'm based in Denmark. Sauna is part of my life. Big
Is it
thing.
part of your networking life?
Perhaps not really, actually.
Okay.
I've done some networking sauna, I guess, because of Slush back in the days. But I do recall first time also doing that. I was like, what? That's so weird. Like, seriously, we're doing this? But then you're just like, yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And I think, I think it's the perception versus reality is so different.
100%. Well, glad that you're experiencing Slush on the best notes. But so what brought you to Slush in general? So you said you're not really sure, but you're here to showcase your startup or to kind of get new directions for the startup because you have recently launched, right?
Yeah, so first time founder. But this is what I find crazy about this journey, right? Is I never wanted to be a founder. Like, there was not one part of me that ever woke up thinking I was going to start my own business.
Yeah.
I was going to work my way up banking, run a FTSE 250 company one day that was established because I'd worked my way up in it and I'd, got my badges. But I have been on and off the dating apps for 10 years. I woke up about 2 years ago and had a massive anxiety attack because I was like, I'm going to die alone. And like, it was this horrible, all-engulfing feeling. And what the worst part of that was, I started talking to my friends about it. And I was like, I'm petrified of dying alone. The dating apps are emotionally draining. I would delete Hinge, Bumble, Tinder. Like, I don't even have Tinder anymore. But Hinge and Bumble, I'd delete and then re-download. It was like a really terrible addiction that wasn't helping me or giving me anything. And I think love is one of those things that we all desperately want. Mm-hmm. And I think dating apps have ruined it. So I woke up and I was like, I cannot keep doing this. So I'm we've met last week. I like people, right?
Yeah.
Like one-on-one people connections, but you don't get to know a person texting them. And I think that's where all of the big dating apps have fallen down, is you're trying to build an emotional connection with or at least enough of that excitement, that spark.
Okay.
But you're doing it over text. And there is no excitement or spark that can be delivered via text, right? Like, there's no emotion, there's no feeling, there's no vibe.
Yeah.
Right? Humans are all about energy and connection, and you don't get that through words on a page. That's why we come to conferences, so that's why we meet in person, that's why I have meetings. And I was watching Love is Blind. I don't know if anyone else watches Love is Blind.
All right.
But have you seen Love is Blind?
Actually, I haven't.
You've never seen Love is Blind?
I know, and someone would send me some trailers. I would just turn it on and I would never have time to continue. But I heard some funny stories from Love is Blind.
So for anyone that hasn't watched it, the whole concept is there are people behind a wall and all they do for a couple of weeks is talk to each other. And at the end of that, you have to propose to someone if you fall in love with them. People are falling in love having never seen the other person behind a wall. Because there's something so intrinsically human about voice, right?
100%.
Like, you will know more about someone in a 5-minute call with them than 50 hours texting them. Because text is one-dimensional. Voice isn't. So I was watching this, and I was like, well, if people can fall in love on a TV show behind a wall, we've got something wrong, right? Like, none of the dating apps have ever looked at how to optimize human connection. They're all the same. Whether it's changing, like, a feature, none of them have rethought how we do it. So then I came up with the idea of 5-minute phone calls. You know, more in 5 minutes about someone than you do for hours, right? Your podcast could be a book.
Could be.
Or it could be a WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah.
And everyone just joins and me and you just WhatsApp back and forth.
Yeah, for sure.
Be shit. But it wouldn't be as engaging. So then I went on Bumble and Hinge, and every time I'd match with someone, I'd message them, do you want to just jump on a call?
And what was the statistics?
So 80% of people actually replied versus my normal 20-30% of replies.
Here we go, all right.
80%. So of those 80%, every single one, bar one, said yes. One person said, you're really forward, and then unmatched me. But everyone else said yes. And I was like, so this whole narrative of people don't like to talk on the phone. Yeah, some people don't, right? Some people don't like dating apps full stop. Like, there's always going to be a segment of society that your product doesn't fit for. Mm-hmm. But one of the funniest stories, so I had a 5-minute call with someone. So it was never meant to be 5 minutes, right? It was meant to just be a call out.
Yeah.
I got stuck on a number of calls that I couldn't get off of. So I was like, okay, there has to be a time limit. But my favourite story is I was on a call with a guy. The call lasted an hour, and we were just getting on really well, right? Guess where he took me for our first date?
Well, I think I would need more background information. To amusement park?
No.
To the beach? To the bar?
To Paris.
He took you to Paris for the first date? Okay, what's happened then?
So we had a great time in Paris.
Did you fly? Did you take the train, private jet?
I wish it was, honestly, anyone out there want to take me on a private jet to Paris, I'm in.
I can be plus one.
Yeah, she's coming with me. If you want to take us to anywhere on a private jet, not just Paris.
I can make pictures.
She can film the whole thing.
I will record.
Yeah.
I'll do a doc.
You'll do the doc, yeah. Contact us.
All right, so you went to Paris for your first date.
Return, first class, train tickets, all the way to Paris. And it was great, but because we actually connected, right? Like, there was something to vibe off.
You thought you're not going to bring you to a local cafe.
It was like, there was no way you were going to be impressed by going to a cafe. So he was like, I ran out of ideas. So he was like, send me your full name. And I was like, that's a bit weird. Send him my full name. And then he was like, can you send me your passport information? I was like,
you did?
Yeah.
All right.
And we went to Paris. He was like, meet me at the Eurostar at this time on Saturday. So met him, we had a bottle of champagne, went to Paris.
Great, I love it. So did you go on the second date after?
So we weren't quite a fit for each other, which was fine.
Happens, but you had a good date.
We had a great, and like, there was no malice, there was no malintent. Like, I think he's a great human. It's just what we wanted and where we were in our lives. It's a different place, and that happens.
Yeah.
But speaking to people on the phone, even if it, like, some of them I got stuck on forever, and I just wanted to get off, and it was awful, and but I had hope again, you know.
Cool.
I felt hopeful that, you know, I wasn't going to die alone, because it was real human interaction, right? Like, whether it's a phone call or a video call, some people wanted to do video, some people wanted to do voice. It's real, and you get to actually speak to a person. And I think the weird thing about society today is we are so connected. We're the most connected society we've ever been, right? You want to speak to someone in Japan any time of day you can. You want to speak to someone on the moon, you can probably speak to someone on the moon now, right? Like, we can talk to everyone all the time, any day, anywhere. And yet we're the least connected, like, society we've ever been. We are, like, the World Health Organization last year came out and said we are the loneliest generation. And it's one of the, like, biggest health crises we're going to face.
Okay.
And that's not old people, right? This is 16 to 30-year-olds. Like, that's us. Like, you know, like, we're lonely in a world where we have everything at our disposal.
That's sad. That's really so true. I think we're missing the human connection. Everything is so transactional, and we just want transaction from each other, and that's it.
But that's what the Finnish president said yesterday, right? When he stood up in front of everyone at Slush, he was like, AI is great, technology is amazing, but you can't lose the human connection and the empathy, because boil everything out of life, right? Take everything away. Take the clothes, the dinners, the festivals. Take it all down. Take all the internet away. What's the point of life, right? And I keep coming back to that. And everyone has a different idea of what the point of life is. But to me, it's the people in your life, right? If you don't have them, if you don't have those connections, those conversations, the people that make you want to get up when everything is absolutely terrible, we don't have anything.
Oh, that's well said. Okay, so you're right now on a mission to change the way we date, the way we love, the way we connect.
Yeah.
And you've been, you launched last year, right, in February?
So I started working on it in February this year.
Yeah.
So my goal is, so I've started with dating, but I want to end loneliness, right? Like that. If I had to say the goal out loud, it's I want to end the loneliness epidemic. I want to bring back human connection, not just to dating. I'm starting with dating, but I want it I don't know if you know Simon Sinek.
Of course I do, yes.
Simon Sinek, if you're listening to this, by the way, I love you. Please, I've emailed you on every medium and I really want to talk to you. It's not creepy at all. But he talks about 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you need him, you just text him, say, do you have 8 minutes? And it's because psychologically, if you speak to a friend for 8 minutes, your anxiety drops, your depression drops, your mood turns around, you feel more connected. So phase 1 is dating. Then I want to conquer friends, relationships, and then business relationships, because yes, it's more convenient to send someone a text, but it's not more connection.
No.
And there are times when texts work, but it's kind of like we've completely forgotten that the point of life is to actually connect with each other. Sending an Instagram like isn't connection.
No.
Commenting on an Instagram post isn't connection.
Some people think that it is, actually, and that's wild. Oh yeah, we connected, we caught up. I was like, when? I liked your post. I was like, seriously. I really had once that. So it's like, I was like, seriously, do you consider that being a connection, friendship, or that's how you show the likability or the interest? I was like, no way, that's lame.
But that happens more and more.
I know,
right?
I know.
Think
it's
about
convenient and
it's convenient.
No effort, nothing. But I'm a podcaster, so I literally send to everyone, to my co-founder, to my friends, long voice messages, and they're like, "Oh, another podcast."
What's the longest voice message you've ever sent?
I don't know, actually, but it's been a long one.
It's like an entire podcast episode, just like one side.
No, it's still up to 5 minutes usually. It's not above, I think.
And do you feel closer to the people that reply with a voice note or the people that reply via text?
Voice note, of course, because you kind of hear the voice. But in general, I like to call better than the texting anyway. So you're on a very big mission, ending the loneliness in this world, and I really admire that. So what are the challenges you're facing as a first-time entrepreneur, jumping into this competitive dating app market and just saying, I'm going to change the world?
Do you know what? I don't see them as challenges. I see them as opportunities for growth.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because it's all mindset, right? And I was having this conversation with someone the other day. There are things that are just definitively hard.
Yeah.
Breaking your leg, hard. Going through cancer, hard. Because they cause emotional, actual physical pain. They are hard. I have starvation, hard. Categorically difficult. Everything else is a mindset.
For sure.
I have gone through crappy times in my life, really, really crappy times in my life. But I don't look at them as crap times anymore. I look at them as some of the best things that have ever happened to me, because they've made me who I am today. So I think I have learnt more in the last 9 months of my life than I've learnt probably ever in my career, and I've had a very good career. I've also met the best people in the last 9 months, and I've ever met. I've never really fit in anywhere. I've always been this weird kind of quirky outsider. I'm too ambitious and too loud and too
to everything. I know I can relate to that.
Yeah. But they love to tell us that, right? You're too this and too that, and just calm down and slow down and don't do. In the founder world, guess what? They love it, right?
Yeah.
you're meant to run at things at 1,000%. You're meant to do all this stuff. And yet, like, I'm not saying it's all roses and daisies, right? The tech has taken way longer than I expected. Trying to get the tech team to align on, like, your product vision is hard. Investor conversations, don't get me even started on them. Since when does pre-seed mean post-revenue, guys? Like, come on. Like, where are we getting
That's the challenge you're facing right now, right?
But the whole economy has shifted. Yep. So I think, especially when you're, and I don't want to like sugarcoat or anything, when you're a first-time founder, a solo founder, a female founder in B2C.
I think we can just drop the mic. Yeah. Literally, there's nothing else to say.
But where do you go at that? I believe AI has a lot to do.
Yeah.
To kind of in the back end, but I don't believe in, you know, just putting AI on a pitch deck. And I think so there are challenges, but I think it's how you work around them and learn from each of them, right? So you have to position it slightly differently or speak to a different type of person, or, you know, like figure out how you just bootstrap it for the while and get to a place. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to kind of fund the development of the app.
That's great.
But I come from a fortunate position, right? Like, so I have a great job that I still work full time to do this. But I think when you are really genuinely passionate about the problem, not the solution, the problem, you will do anything to fix that problem. Like, I take my hats off to anyone who says they just want to be a founder, because this shit is tough. Like, it's,
yeah.
And if you have that passion to just build whatever it is, great. But like, the thing that means this is the greatest privilege of my life and the greatest opportunity, no matter what, is I get to fix a problem that genuinely so many people are facing right now.
That is great. So how is it going now with your dating? Is it all now with business dating and you have to really put all the energy?
It's weird, right? Because I was so not lonely, but like I so desperately wanted to find my person for so long. And I really hope I do one day. But this business is kind of like my person right now. Like, It's the thing I wake up to and fall asleep with and love more than anything in the world. So,
wow.
Have you ever used any of the dating apps?
I did. I hate dating apps.
What? Okay, so why do you hate them?
Texting. I don't know. Like, all this texting, all this, like, okay, likability contests, okay, nice. So you have all those likes, then you kind of write to someone. And then it depends on the region. So let's say in Barcelona, it's a lot of ghosting and gaslighting culture. And for example, some Berlin hookup culture, and it's kind of just wild. You have those stereotypes, and then you're texting, and I don't like texting, so I get tired. Now you can send voice messages as well on Hinge, but I don't know. It just like sometimes I find myself, why am I in this app now? Do I really think that I will find now someone who shares the passions like me, surf and entrepreneurship in the app, scrolling and swiping? So I give up, I delete, and then sometimes
re-download them. Yeah, we're in such a terrible place in society.
Yeah,
right?
it's really difficult.
Why do we ghost each other? Why can we not have difficult conversations? And it shouldn't be a difficult conversation, right? It's like, I'm just not interested in pursuing this. How hard is that to stand? But that's why on Hatti we have a ghosting penalty. So after the 5-minute call, you choose whether you speak to that person again or not. If you don't turn up to the 5-minute call, you're off the app. We don't want that behavior, right? So, and then the app will let you know if someone wants to speak to you again or not. So like, it's taking all the difficult conversations out and making them so people aren't guessing. We've also integrated like dating coaching and mental health. Yeah, and we show people your dating insights and your dating data. So we'll show you how many people we've shown your profile to. We'll show you how many people have liked your profile. We'll show you your favourite photos, how long people spend on your profile, what type of profiles you swipe on versus swipe on you. So we can make better educated like decisions in dating. Because I think that's the other thing. Dating apps have made dating kind of like this thing that we don't even think about, that we just scroll and swipe.
It's like a daily dopamine, right? You kind of get a like, you get a bit of a dopamine boost, you're happy, you get your ego boost, and then you continue the day, and then you just, it's not interesting anymore, I'm not going to continue conversation. Anyway, but it sounds very interesting with your product development and the insights, talking about the questions and difficult conversations. I do have with me the cards, Perception Paradox cards, so I travel the world and I challenge people and invite people to talk things that matter. I would like to draw one card, and for the closing let's see what the card says to you.
What's the most important life lesson you've learned, and how has it shaped you?
Here we go. What would it be?
I've had a lot of life lessons, you know. It's been a long life, okay, guys.
All right, it's for the next episode. I guess we will have the life lessons by
Z.
Yeah, by Z. Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm going to come back and just do a whole life
We're
lesson.
gonna do it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I guess the biggest life lesson that I've learned to date, it's not the what, it's the why and the who. Like, why are you doing it and who are you doing it with? Like, if you are surrounded by incredible people and a mission that you are so passionate about, you'll get through everything.
That's beautiful. And I have this tradition with the closing of the podcast, since we're running out of time and already, Slush is all about the efficiency. What would be one thought you would like to leave the listeners to ponder through the day after this episode?
What's your why? Like, what's the thing that you are so passionate about that's the reason that you are on this earth? And it could be your kids, it could be your family, it could be world change, it could be something as small as you want to make someone else's life better every day. What's that thing that keeps your light alive?
Wow. Thank you so much, Zaahirah, for joining
you.
Perception Paradox. She's an entrepreneur, founder of Hatti dating app, so I guess we can download it to try it out.
Download it and try it.
See and call. But yeah, thank you everyone. It was
Thanks,
podcast
guys.
episode directly from Slush, and see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Real people, real stories, and real challenges that break the status quo. I'm your host, Zivile, and welcome to Perception Paradox.